Hey friends, welcome to Moxie Life. It's Martha and I am currently in my Detroit apartment. I'm not feeling well, so as you can see I have a big bottle of Advil. But since I was just sitting here kind of bored, I figured I would just post a little update. The video I just recently posted was kind of old footage, but I haven't had time to post because of my crazy schedule and just everything that's going on. So I wanted to talk about my schedule and share a little bit about what being on reserve is like in the airline industry. Now, I'm pretty sure with each company it's generally the same, but I know like a lot of companies handle it a little bit differently as far as like how long you're on reserve and you know, the hours and stuff like that. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what it looks like for me, and then probably at the end of this video I'm just going to put on some footage of when Jared came to visit me a couple weeks ago. So you can see it was cold and rainy, so we didn't really get to do much, but we made the best of it. So actually this weekend it's super hot, and I was gonna go to the zoo today, but it's like 90 degrees and it's really humid, and especially because I don't feel very good, it was not happening. I went out for like a minute to get my eyebrows done and I wanted to die. So but I got my eyebrows updated, so that's good. Haven't had time to do that either. So anyway, let's talk about reserve. So probably if you've watched any videos or know anybody that's been in the airline industry or been a flight attendant, and also pilots have a similar situation, you have to be on reserve when you first start, and also in this industry seniority is everything. So you get a lot more, let's see, what's the word? You get a lot more freedom to choose what you want your schedule to look like as you move up in seniority. And so when you first start out and you're on reserve, you really get no choice at all. You are at the mercy of your company, and once you go through IOE, so I did my IOE, and obviously I was successful because I'm still working, and that is the test you do when you're like actually on the plane. And let me just tell you, being in ground training and doing an IOE is completely different. Like actually being in an airplane and doing the work doesn't translate at all to what you learn. I mean, you learn how to do it in ground training, but actually putting it in practice is a whole new ball game. But I was successful. It was very hard and very stressful, and I can't say it was the best experience I ever had, but I did pass and started my reserve. I had 2 days off after that, and I started my reserve. So the way it works is, so right now my reserve schedule until the end of this month, which is May, I'm on what's considered Reserve 1. So there's Reserve 1 and Reserve 2. Reserve 1 starts at 5 a.m. and goes to 5 p.m. every day. So essentially it means I'm on call until that time. So should they need someone to jump into a trip or however it works, I don't even really exactly know how they assign us trips necessarily. I think it's like mostly when people call out sick or whatever, they give us a call. And we have 2 hours. Or a minimum of 2 hours is required for us to have time to get ready and get to the airport. So in Detroit, where I'm at right now, I live like 9 minutes from the airport. So it's really not a big deal, really easy for me to get there, and I have plenty of time. In other airports, it's a little different story because, you know, a lot more traffic and it's pretty crazy. But so anyway, my first morning of reserve, I actually did not hear my phone ring, but they did call me, like I think it was like 5:01, And I called them right back because you essentially have 10 minutes to call them back, or they consider it that you missed it, basically, and you get in trouble. So I didn't sleep well that first night because I was super panicked that I wouldn't hear the phone, and then I didn't have they called from a different number than I had saved, so the ringer did not ring. But I had set my alarm, so my alarm went off. I looked at my phone. I saw the missed call. So day one of reserve, I got a 2-day trip on one of our smaller planes, which seats 50 people and is only one flight attendant. So literally my first trip out of training was by myself. So that was a little scary. And also I didn't even do my flight training on that airplane. But one cool thing that did happen during training was my instructor had me so when you do your training on the airplane, they have you work in the front. So there's 2 flight attendants and they have you do all the front stuff. So you're doing first class and all the things that go along with like shutting the door and all that. So the last flight of that 2-day process of my test, she had me work the back, and she said, as long as you work the back once, you'll know how to work this smaller airplane. So I was really grateful that she had me do that because right out of the gate, I had to work 2 days on that plane by myself. So that was pretty crazy, but it was fun, and my pilots were super cool and, helped me out a lot and took care of me. And so I survived. All my passengers made it to their destinations and got snacks and drinks. So that was cool. So that's essentially what reserve is. So my schedule, I'm off right now. I was off Saturday and Sunday, and then tomorrow morning I start reserve again at 5 a.m. So at any moment, at any time from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., they can call me and assign me to a trip. And it may or may not be that day, but it probably will come. The thing that I have noticed, I was on call, or I was on reserve on Mother's Day, and for holiday weekends, they are pretty strict about calling out on those weekends because, it's just, imagine if a bunch of people called out, and then, there's only so many reserves, there's only so many people that can fill in, so that would make them kind of stuck. So they kind of put the fear into everyone as far as calling out, and you're not allowed to use your emergency excuses for holidays. So I didn't get a call on Mother's Day, and I'm kind of thinking I probably won't get called tomorrow, which is Memorial Day. I hope I do, because I want to work. I really enjoy it, and that's the thing, I'm loving it. It's still all very brand new, and I've done a lot of different trips and legs of trips. The last one I did is what's called a stand-up, and basically you take the last flight of the day out to a certain location. You get, it can be anywhere from 6 to 8 hours break in between, so essentially time for a nice long nap, and then you take the first flight back. So I left Detroit at I think it was 9:55, and then we were back on that plane and taking off at 6:30 in the morning. So those are called stand-ups. You actually get a little more credit, pay credit for that, and it was okay. It wasn't bad. It was very short flights. They were to Canton, Akron, and it's a 40-minute flight. So there was no service. They basically just went up and went back down. So for first time, it was pretty good. But they say a lot of senior people like those because they're short, sweet, and you get good credit for them. So as far as me being on reserve, if I stayed in Detroit, I would probably be off reserve or get more assigned trips rather than being on call faster, because it is so junior, and a lot of people want to move out of Detroit. But I have put in for my transfer. The order I have put in is LA, San Diego, and San Francisco. Those are my top 3 choices. LA, I've heard if you're on reserve there, it's a very long time. But I have determined that it would be better to be closer to home and on reserve than have a set schedule and be so far away. San Diego I'm not really sure about, and San Francisco, I mean, I'm kind of iffy on whether I really want San Francisco, only because they are, I don't really have anywhere to stay when I'm there, and it's not as close, obviously. And even if I did stay up there, the traffic is awful, I've heard. But anyway, so that's how it's going so far. And like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I love being on the airplane so far. Like, I've had really great passengers, nothing crazy, or nobody's been mean to me yet. So pretty uneventful, and Detroit's not bad. I mean, the weather is hot as Hades here right now, but I have air conditioning. That's not something I don't have in Ventura. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Tomorrow's Memorial Day, and I'm just chilling tonight. I was gonna go out and go do some stuff, but not feeling up to it. So yeah, so anyway, I think that's it. Just wanted to make it a little short, like, catch up, like, get you up to date video. If you haven't yet, if you want, subscribe, and you'll get my updates. I'm really trying to stay on top of making more videos, and yeah, that's about it. So hope to see you next time. Now I'm videoing America. There's Jared, super zoom, and now there's Canada. Right there. Canada, Jared, America. So